So John was trying to lift Jesus up and make him important as Jesus is important. He was more than a good man, he was more than a good teacher. And in verse 14 of John 1 it says, "The Word was made flesh and dwelt among us." Well, the word means, and he's called that because he came to express God, he came to express the kingdom of heaven, he came to express the values of God. He wanted us to know who God was, and really the only way for God to be expressed was for him to come down in human form, and that's exactly what Jesus did. Now there's some interesting things about Jesus that John says, because in order to build him up, he wants us to know who Jesus really was. And so he says, in the beginning. Well, this is referring way back, as far back as you can go, as far back into the beginning of time, clear back wherever that was. And that's hard for us to understand because, you know, the kids come to us and say, Mom and Daddy, or Papa and Nan, or Grandpa and Grandma, you know, where did God come from? And really the best answer we can give to that is, well, he's always been. So this beginning, what John is trying to express, that whenever God has been, Jesus has been there with him. In the beginning was the Word. Now when we get into John chapter 1 and we look at it a little closer, we get into the next couple of verses here that say something quite interesting that help us to understand who Jesus really was. And it goes like this: "Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made." So in other words, Jesus is the creator. It's like a contractor. You know, in the beginning of the Bible it says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And we say, well, God created the heavens and the earth. If that's the case, how did Jesus do that? Well, if you had a general contractor by the name of Jones and he came and built your house and somebody asked who built your house, you would say, well, Jones built it. Well, that's true, but he probably did that through his employees, you see. And so this is the same idea. We can't ignore these verses that say that Jesus was involved in creation. And then it goes on to say in the next verse, verse 4, "In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind." In other words, Jesus not only created, he's the life giver. So we want to encourage you to bring Jesus into your life as well. He'll make a difference in your life, and the more I get to know him, the more meaningful he becomes to me. And so until next time, I'm Rod Bieber with Seed Time and Harvest.